Hello, good morning or good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me today. Before we get started, I do want to just say thank you so much to everyone who did send me get well messages last week. So sorry for needing to postpone. Figured it would be better if I did because I had no voice left over at all. But I am back to normal now, as you guys can hear, and I'm very, very happy to be able to do this webinar for you again this week. Just so everyone is aware, I know some people are not able to make it today, but was able to make it in last week instead. Everyone will be receiving a recording of this specific webinar that we are doing today. So make sure that you check your inboxes first thing in the morning tomorrow, whether you have attended or haven't attended. It's going to be available, and there is no expiration date for this specific webinar. We just want to make sure that everyone, if they are wanting the information to learn everything about Corona Lab, how to get yourself started, picking the right waxes, is going to be readily available for you at all times now. We're also going to be looking at putting this specific webinar up onto our websites on our Canadian as well as our US website. And the Spanish webinar that was done at the very beginning of April basically is the exact same thing as what I am going to be doing for you guys today. That will also be readily available, hopefully sometime soon, along with this webinar, will be available on our Canadian and US websites as well. Now, before I get started here, I am going to be launching a poll. There are 6 questions on here. It's just so I can get kind of gauge what our audience is kind of like with us today, whether you are a returning Chrome Lab user or if you are someone who doesn't know anything about Chrome Lab and you're looking to maybe learn more about what we have to offer you guys, and if you're looking to switch any of your products that you are currently using in your spaces too. So I do have a bit of a presentation available here today. I am going to be really diving deep into the whole entire Chrome Lab story, down to all of our waxes, of course, and our products. The biggest thing when people are always coming by, especially since it is trade show season right now, that when people come by the booths, they are trying to find the right waxes for them. Now, we do have a very beautiful range of waxes in our wax family. It does get a little bit overwhelming when you are seeing so many amazing options. Which option is going to be the best for you? So I will be breaking that all down today. So if you guys are requiring extra assistance, you can always go onto our Instagram and you can directly message us on there. I'll be there readily available to answer any of your questions. The biggest thing too is if you guys have picked up something and it's not working for you, or something just isn't working properly, please utilize the fact that we are always there for you to help troubleshoot, answer any of your questions at any given time. Of course, if I do not answer right away, I am also first and foremost an entrepreneur and a business owner myself too. So I do have very my own testimonials and reviews for you guys too, because at the end of the day, I am still a professional just like you guys. I highly value education and everything too. So I'm very, very happy to be a part of the team and be able to basically let you guys know from firsthand experience how amazing Corona Lab is. So I'm just going to give everyone just another few seconds here before I go ahead and close our poll. But if you do not see it pop up, please exit and come back in. There are 6 questions again. You just scroll all the way down to the bottom and just hit submit. I'll be able to see all of your answers. Also, please utilize our Q&A section if you are wanting to ask any questions or type them directly into the chat box. What I do prefer is if you could change your chat settings from the to section to everyone, so everyone can actually be engaged and also see what you're asking, because perhaps they also have the exact same question too. But of course, if you are a little bit shy, it's okay too. You can always utilize the Q&A section and ask me a question anonymously. But I love when you guys do engage each other in the chat. Share your love for Corona Lab if you are using Corona Lab products too. Let me know what you guys are using. But yeah, we are going to close this poll in just 5 more seconds and we will get started with our whole entire presentation today. So we do have quite a few people who are completely brand new, and of course we have some returning people as well today. We do have quite a few people who are using hard and soft and film. And I see we do have one person who uses sugar here today. Very exciting. We are launching, like our official launch for the product is going to be in June. It's our sugaring paste called Aqua Gel. It's not directly under Chrome Lab, but it is under the Chrome Lab umbrella of brands that we have available. But it is available in soft and firm paste. I myself am not a sugarist, but Lindsay, if you guys got a chance to meet her at Toronto ESI, she was also demonstrating our brand new sugar wax that is available. We were hoping to do a faster launch of this product, but it's already been completely swiped out of all of our stock that we had available. So we are trying to bring in more stock right now to be ready for US and Canada to have our first full official launch. And then all of our distributors can also hop into purchasing this product. So it's available for you guys to purchase. Now, for anybody who doesn't know who I am, my name is Chanel. I am a certified esthetician. I've been in the industry for over 10 years. I love all kinds of hair removal, including sugaring too. It's not my main go-to. My background is mainly in facial skin therapy, waxing, especially in Brazilian waxing. It is my, I don't want to say it's a niche, but it has turned into something that I do strictly offer in my own personal business that's been open for almost 6 years now. I have also dabbled into your laser hair removal. I have done and finished my certification for electrolysis as well. So I'm very well versed in the whole concept of how hair removal works, down to its sciences and everything like that, which is very beneficial because I can utilize a little bits of my knowledge that I know from my laser hair removal, from my electrolysis, along with waxing and sugaring as well, and kind of combine everything all together because at the end of the day, we're just really trying to remove hairs for our clientele. I do own a home-based business. So for anyone who is from the USA, I know home-based businesses are not very big over there. It is a little bit bigger up in Canada here. But I do basically work out of my own home. I am the sole worker of my entire business. I run everything down from, like, I don't hire people. I am the only person who works. But I have been open for, again, as I mentioned, almost 6 years now. I work very part-time. So if you guys are more interested in knowing how I build my business and everything like that, it is going to be featured in our next webinar where I am actually going to be on a talk with Lindsay. And Lindsay herself, just a little bit of background on her, she does own 2 very large spas up in the Ontario region in Canada. So we're going to be sharing 2 very different perspectives from myself, who is mainly a solo worker only, compared to someone who is working for a very established large spa with employees under her, and how has both of our businesses been impacted and how we managed to pivot our businesses further by incorporating Corona Lab into our businesses. And then we're also going to share with you guys expenses and everything like that, like down to how businesses are run, things that you can also incorporate, our tips and tricks too, to get yourself started if you are someone who is looking to venture out into your own, say, personal studio space. Now, why choose Corona Lab Australia? The first thing I really love about Corona Lab is the fact that this company is super duper transparent. Now, we do have some QR codes that are on the side here. It will lead you to our safety data sheets, which are readily available for you to print off at any given time. While I was at the Dallas show, I know some students had come by and they were hoping to bring in their own waxes into their school to wax with, and they were hoping to bring in Corona Lab. And the biggest thing that the directors were telling them that they cannot bring in another wax is they don't have safety data sheets. Well, Corona Lab has them readily available for you already. So if that is the only obstacle that you have in letting your students bring in Corona Lab waxes, well, we have you guys set and ready. They just need to go on, download and print off these safety data sheets, and they can go ahead and start bringing in the waxes into their space and start offering a wax experience, which I will dive into in the next slide here. Now, Corona Lab is very interesting. It does run on a holistic concept, and we are very sustainable too. Of course, happy Earth Day, everyone. Today is Earth Day, and I am excited that I am doing the webinar today because on my Instagram, I just posted about Curl Lab Cares. Curl Lab Cares is an initiative that was launched in 2020, and there's a number of categories under Curl Lab Cares, but we're trying to take and utilize little small changes to make the world better, to make the beauty industry better. Just trying to do better for not just the salon, for our clientele, to you guys as the professional, everything. We know that we have to encompass more than just removing hair. When it comes to waxing, it's more than that. There's business, there's marketing, there's taking care of our clients, there's building relationships, how to run your business, taking care of the planet. Are our products sustainable? Is it green? Can you recycle things, like etc.? There's so much more to waxing than just wax on, wax off. Curl Lab is also amazing for the amount of ongoing education that we do have and the support that we have. So other than myself, I do have a team of other educator ambassadors that work for me too. So if you are Spanish speaking, and I am by no means cannot speak Spanish. I have taken Spanish back in my university days, and it can get me by, but not enough to actually carry a full conversation. But we do have Sonia, who is a part of the team, and she speaks fluent Spanish. So we have other different types of people who speak different types of languages who can actually help you guys as well. Now, Curl Lab very, very highly values the fact that we use high quality ingredients for our waxes and our products. And with that being said too, we are always trying to figure out ways, not just with our ingredients that we are trying to create, or formulas that we are trying to create too, because we need to make sure that we are staying up to date with the beauty industry. With that being said, since I mentioned that, like, how are we doing that? A lot of our formulas that are coming out, they are vegan friendly, and I don't think we're going to be trailing backwards anywhere anytime soon. Because one of the biggest things when it comes to Curl Lab creating products is if there is a chance to pick a plant-based over an animal-based, they'll always choose plant-based. And that is the ongoing trend so far since Brazilian has come out. Brazilian is one of our waxes, and then afterwards would be Bravado, and then our Pro HD from our range that is the newest. And they're all vegan friendly formulas. So if we're already moving towards that route, I don't see at any point in time that Curl Lab is going to backtrack and use any plant-based, and use any animal-based products when we can choose plant-based for any new products that we are coming out with. Now, with that being said too, we really, really want to value that we can save you time and money and product in your waxing room, because wax and products really shouldn't be the things that are breaking the bank for you. What breaks the bank? Just a little teaser for what I like to share. I break the bank with wax spatulas because these are disposable. So disposables is what breaks the bank for me. I stock these either weekly or bi-weekly by the thousands, because I'm going through these guys very, very quickly, because we don't want to promote any forms of double dipping whatsoever. So the only thing that I know I waste the most money on are disposables, just to make sure that my space is nice and clean and hygienic at all times. Now, we really highly value this term that we have actually trademarked called the wax experience. And the wax experience for myself, and if you guys are also carrying Curl Lab and using the products yourself too, will understand this wax experience and how it can really create a different experience for your clientele. Now, a wax experience can go way further than this, and you'll understand this too if you are currently using our techniques or products and everything. But wax experience is basically when you are using hard waxes. The hard waxes are meant to design to only the hair and not to the skin. So how this works is when the hard waxes are drying, it will only encapsulate and shrink wrap itself around the hairs while it is actually sitting on top of the skin and protecting the skin, which is why we do not need to use any bits of pre-oil. I've spoken to a few people who do use our after oil. Please do not use the after oil as a pre-oil. Trust the brand, trust the wax. You need to understand that you do not need to pre-oil the skin. If you attempt to pre-oil with the after oil and you use too much of it because it's a highly concentrated product, your waxes are not going to adhere properly at all, and you might possibly be able to remove like 98% of the hairs, but because of that oil slick that's on there from the high concentration, you might only be removing 80% of the hairs, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't like this wax. Even if you work in an environment that is super dry. Okay. I live in Calgary, Alberta. It's always super dry here. We have humongous fluctuations with weather all the time here too, like always dry. And I don't need to pre-oil my clients whatsoever. So this actually saves you an extra step, saves you an extra product as well that you don't need to use anymore because your wax is going to basically act and protect the skin like how you would with pre-oil. With that being said, too, the only thing that we do promote that you might sometimes see in our webinars as well is cornstarch or a powder of your choice. And the only time that we do actually incorporate this product is if, say, your client is super sweaty, there's a little bit of moisture, or I do use it quite heavily in my male Brazilians. I'll dive into male Brazilians in a different educational webinar. But that's the only thing that we actually recommend is if you want to use anything else apart from the range is a powder of your choice. Now, all of our hard waxes are very flexible, pliable, and moldable, and they do not go brittle. If the waxes are going brittle on you guys, it is down to application and the consistency of your wax. I have definitely left this wax on skin for say up to 5 minutes, and this wax still stays flexible and pliable, and it's still moldable and everything. It still does not go brittle. So if your wax is going brittle on you, this is an easy thing for me to troubleshoot. So please message me on Instagram if you're having these issues with the wax, because you should not be having any of these issues. Amber, I'll get to you in just a moment here. So this wax experience too, if you know that this wax and you trust this wax and the brand that it is going to protect the skin for you, because we again don't need that pre-oil, then it's going to improve your confidence because this wax can get into places that you think that it cannot get into. So for example, if you guys were in Dallas and you saw me, I did do a Brazilian class in Dallas. But I did something very daring. And basically, I was attempting to glue my model shut with the hard waxes. And when I say it's moldable to the anatomy, guys, it is moldable to the anatomy. It is just going to mold to every little bit of the crevices, the folds. Moles, for example, if you guys have been on my previous webinars too, I wax right over moles, right over nipples, because I trust this wax so much. I know it's not going to harm the skin whatsoever. This is an amazing wax brand, just with the way that you no longer have to worry about it getting into places that you don't want it to get into. I've taught another class in Vancouver too, where like they were wondering, how can I speed up my time? I hate doing knees when I'm doing any leg waxing. And I'm like, I just put the hard wax on the entire knee and I rip, because I know this wax is going to mold to the whole entire knee and it's not going to break on me. It's still going to stay nice and flexible. So I can actually get that whole entire knee portion done with one big piece of wax. And then I can continue on with the other parts for waxing. So it's going to improve your confidence. It's also going to create a much better experience for your client because these hard waxes, what it is made out of, it is going to help to reduce any adverse reactions such as your redness, your hives, and it's going to actually help reduce pain. So I'll get into this in a little bit more detail of which ones are the best for pain relief. But because of what the hard waxes are made out of and what the soft waxes, majority of them are made out of, you can actually do more with the wax by also knowing that your clients are gonna feel more comfortable because they feel less pain. They're gonna leave not looking like that they have just had a waxing treatment afterwards. And the biggest thing at the very bottom too is we're always about that client comfort first. We don't actually promote putting into our clients into any positions that is going to make them uncomfortable. So definitely no yoga poses whenever we're doing our Brazilians. We don't put them on all fours. When we're doing facial waxing, for example, we don't need our clients to help us. They don't need to put their tongue into certain areas so we can actually wax their upper lip. We just need them to fully relax, close their eyes, and just enjoy their time that they're spending with us. Oh, trying to get to my next slide. So as I mentioned with Corona Lab Cares, if you guys really want to read more about it, there is a brand new 2023 progress report that has been launched. But we usually only focus on the first four, which is the ethical resourcing, health and safety, animal welfare, and sustainability. But we do have more in Curl Lab Cares. We also care about the planet. So happy Earth Day again. And better education. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here today offering you guys this free live education. Equal opportunities, your client, as I had mentioned previously, and the quality in the beauty industry. When it comes to ethical resourcing, and I'm going to tie that in with animal welfare, we are certified cruelty-free, choose cruelty-free, and as well by PETA, so we don't test any of our products on animals whatsoever. So anything that is brand new that has been launched has been tested on humans at the Curl Lab factory in Australia. Equal opportunities, if you guys are very curious, we do have many female identifying workers that are a part of the Curl Lab team. I think the only male I have ever seen is Greg, who is the CEO of Curl Lab Australia currently. But about 45% of all the workers that are in the major positions to help promote Curl Lab are mainly women or those that identify as women. We really want to make sure that we're giving that opportunity to those that are going to basically better the quality in the beauty industry. Now, health and safety is very interesting because health and safety really comes down to the ingredients that we are using for our waxes. We don't use colophonium, which is that natural pine resin, minus one wax that I'll talk about afterwards. Because colophonium is actually very damaging, not just to our clients, because it's one of the top reasons for why our clients are having all these adverse reactions, but it's actually really damaging to us as therapists as well, because when we are breathing in any of the fumes that natural pine resin does give off, it's actually the third highest occupational hazard for asthma. So we're trying to make sure that we're not using anything that is not only harmful to our clients, but also things that are harmful to us. We want to make sure that we stray as far away from that as possible. Now talk about resins. So again, as I mentioned, natural resin, colophonium, pine resin. There's another very, very fancy name for it now too. It's like completely slipped my mind right now. But think about it this way with pine resin. Yes, it is going to be cheaper to produce. So it is going to be cheaper for you guys to purchase too. But when you are purchasing something that is made out of this pine resin, have you guys ever picked up a can or whatever of this colophonium-based resin? And it's like, you know what? The first batch worked so great, and then the second batch didn't work as great. And you're wondering why. Like, is it me? Am I doing something wrong? Am I heating it not properly? But you haven't changed anything. Everything is completely the same. But no, that is not the reason why. If you were to think about how this is taken and to create for production, one tree is not going to produce the exact same quality as your next tree. So in order for you to actually make sure that you're grabbing the best quality, that is going to cost money. So are these companies going to take that time to make sure that you guys get the highest quality of pine resin every single time? I don't think so. So with that being said, there is pretty much almost close to no quality assurance. So your batches of wax are going to perform inconsistently for you too. I've also seen where people are just like, oh, you know, I picked up a wax, been using it for some time, but the smell seems a little bit weird this time. Like it almost smells a little bit more chemically, or it smells a little bit more perfumey, or the coloring seems a little bit different. Poor quality of resin is actually really, really hard to color and fragrance because it does, again, produce that really heavy chemical smell. If you are finding that you're picking up waxes that are heavily scented, and as we know too, scents are not good for our client's skin either. Some people are very, very sensitive just to smell. Colorants. If your waxes are really bizarre, like neon colors, yes, it's pretty to look at, but there's a reason why it's the neon color. It's to help hide and mask that poor quality of resin. And a poor quality of resin is a dark amber, very heavily chemically smelling type of resin. This is what also makes it more painful for your clients. Have you ever had clients who tell you, oh, I cannot wax because it gets super duper red? It's mainly because of this resin. Trying to backtrack a little tiny bit here now too. Sometimes clients think they cannot wax because their skin gets really, really red. But the thing is, are they getting red? How long does that redness last for? Are they also producing hives, or is there more to it? So You also have to really understand and recognize that when we're waxing, we're ripping the hairs out of the hair follicle. When we do that, it's our skin's natural defense mechanism to react. Every single person should react. That is just a normal reaction. That's reactive skin. But if someone has, say, rosacea, for example, or psoriasis, usually that's a skin condition. And these clients do have what you would call sensitive skin. Now, if you are very well aware that your client does suffer from one of these skin conditions and they get very, very red, that is very normal to their skin type condition. Okay. I don't want people to think that, oh, just because I get red, it means that I'm sensitive. Like, no, that's just a normal skin reaction and it should happen. Even when you're waxing with, say, a synthetic based resin, you should get a little bit of a reaction. But the difference is how long does that reaction last for? Does it last for up to hours or does it only last for up to 5 minutes? That is the difference when you are trying to pick your waxes and trying to pick the right resin to use for the wax that you're choosing. So with the synthetic resin, as I mentioned, a really, really poor quality of natural resin would be dark and amber. A synthetic resin, this doesn't do it full justice, but it should be pale yellow. Okay, you should be able to see right through it. And the reason why we choose to do synthetic instead of a natural base is because this is a man-made substance. So this is a sustainable product. It's being repurposed from the fuel industry. Now, people always like kind of get, oh my God, fuel industry. Oh my God, that's really, really bad. Petroleum. Oh my goodness. No, I don't want you guys to think that at all. If you guys were really to think about this, if it was harmful, I know that the FDA in the US and Health Canada is also really, really, really strict when it comes to ingredients and what we can bring into the country. If Kernel Lab can make it through the borders, it is safe to use. When we're saying a byproduct of the fuel industry, it needs to be at that high cosmeceutical grade in order for it to be used on the skin and to be breathed in safely. So because again, this is a man-made substance, it's going to be consistent batch to batch. It's going to perform the same every single time. We're not adding anything natural into our waxes at all. Down to our colorants, down to our scents as well, everything is fully synthetic. So we really want to make sure that when our waxes are working, there aren't a lot of natural ingredients that are going to penetrate into the skin, because natural that penetrates into the skin is what is causing a lot of those bad reactions. We want this wax to simply protect the skin and remove hairs efficiently as much as possible. Synthetic resins is also the reason why the waxes, especially the hard waxes, stay nice and flexible, pliable, and also moldable. You would not be able to do things with a natural resin like you can with a synthetic based resin. You definitely, because again, natural resin is super sticky. So if you're someone who's like, I want this to work efficiently, I'm going to use natural based resin, it's sticky. It will grip to everything, including skin. It is meant to grip to skin, to hair, like literally everything. That's why if you think, oh my God, no, like it's working so good for you that you're grabbing everything. Yeah, you're literally grabbing everything. Whereas a synthetic resin is only going to shrink wrap around the hairs, grab what is needed, while it's also trying to help protect your client's skin. So with that being said too, if your wax is not being adhered to the skin, it's going to feel less painful for your clients because we're only grabbing what is the most important. This is also fantastic for those who do have sensitive base skin, because anything that is synthetic also has a lower melting point compared to natural resin, which usually does have a much higher melting point, where your clients do feel like the wax is quite warm as well. Now, all of these adverse reactions, I've already talked about it. So does that mean if I just pick synthetic base waxes, then I won't get these? No. So with your bruising, your skin lifting, irritation and bumps, the redness, depending on the clientele. If your clients, again, are sensitive skin based, they might still get some irritation. They will still get some redness. They really shouldn't get any excessive burning, okay? But skin lifting and bruising really comes down to poor technique. Are you supporting the skin properly? Because if you aren't, then you can still get bruising, you can still get skin lifting using any brand of wax, not just Kernel Lab. We really, really want to make sure that people are starting off with Kernel Lab properly, understanding how to apply the wax, knowing how to get the perfect consistency for your wax first and foremost, so it can actually work the most efficient and most effective for whatever client that you are waxing. We also do not promote using strip wax anymore, if possible, on the face and in any of our intimate areas, because we do have hard waxes that can perform the exact same, provide you the exact same grip as a strip wax can. Now, this is our whole entire range. If you guys want to take a photo of this, feel free. But we have options for everyone. And I know people usually say, well, why do you need so many options? Well, there's always going to be a therapist that might not like white wax. They like having pink waxes instead. Maybe they are strictly only a hard waxer. So a film wax would work much better for them because it's actually good for all over the body and it is the most cost effective. Now, I'll dive down deep into all of these one by one so you guys can actually understand which wax is best for which area, its consistency, how to heat it properly. Just please, if you're going to ask me for dials, I probably won't give you any dial numbers. And the reason why is because my workspace will differ from another professional's workspace. It might even fluctuate due to weather. So maybe today I could be setting it up at a 6, let's just say. But if I have a super duper warm day, setting up at a 6 is going to be not right. It would feel a little bit too hot. Maybe I need a core. It would make my whole entire core disappear. I would have to set it much lower, say at a 4. So understanding and knowing how to judge your waxes by eye and getting that right consistency is very, very important. And it's going to be different for every single professional. Now, Brilliance. Brilliance is a wax that I like to call my baby. It is actually the very first wax that kind of got me introduced into Chrome Lab, and it has basically changed the whole entire view that I have when it comes to waxing. There is no wax quite like Brilliance on the market at all. What's amazing about this, it is a hypoallergenic formula. This is a hard wax and it's very, very creamy. Now, anything that is creamy is going to be gentle. It is not meant to be grippy at all whatsoever. It can still grab majority of the hairs, but this is an overlap wax. So if you do have someone who is, for example, say a student who is just learning, trying to get themselves comfortable and familiar with waxing, this is a wonderful wax that you can, if you really, really needed to, if you need to overlap, say the wax, say 5 or 6 times, you can still safely do that with this wax. This is a wax that was actually created by Lily Perrone, who is the creator of this wonderful brand. She created this wax for Brazilian waxing, and she actually taught herself how to do Brazilian waxes better, because she was just thinking like, you know what, there has to be a better way. There has to be a better wax. Why is a Brazilian waxing so daunting and so scary for people? How can we change that? Also, like with Brazilian waxing, there are certain areas that we technically cannot reach. If we get too close, we could possibly damage our clients as well. So she wanted a wax that can actually give you the cleanest and the most efficient job possible. If you guys are very, very curious about this, I am doing a Brazilian class in September. I'll dive down very deep into all of it. I have a very, very special model that I'm trying to get in right now. So if you guys are curious about this whole Chrome Lab Brazilian that I'm talking about right now, what can you possibly do with this wax? And kind of just find out all of its tips, its tricks, its secrets that you can also, I don't want to say secrets, but everything that you can utilize with any of the Chrome Lab hard waxes for a very beautiful, clean, efficient Brazilian. Please come to my webinar in September. But anyway, so this wax, it is white, okay? White isn't because of any colorants added into this. It's white because of the titanium dioxide that has been added in. It's basically created almost like a chemical reaction. And this is the only reason why it's white. It's that titanium dioxide, and it was added in to help reduce any excessive skin redness. The scent is coconuts, and there are no natural bits of coconuts in this at all. It is all fully synthetic. So what's really great for this too is because of this super duper low melting point, even if you did not heat this wax properly, it should never actually feel super hot on the skin. This is a wonderful wax for you to use on those who do have that sensitive skin type. So those with rosacea, those with psoriasis, if you're waxing over, which I have also done too, I got the okay from my client's doctor to do this. She had some stitching on her knee because she went for her knee surgery, but she had all these hairs right along the stitching and it was really bothering her, making her super itchy. With her doctor's consent, I waxed right over that stitching. I did not rip out any stitchings. It just molded beautifully over the whole entire bits of the stitches in her knee, but it grasped all of those little hairs right by that stitch that was bothering her. This is also a really beautiful wax that will stay nice and consistent even in humid weather. However, this is one wax that you guys have to understand how to use properly. Whenever I'm at trade shows and people come by and I'm not paying attention, if you guys grab a stick and you guys throw the heck out of this, I panic a little tiny bit because this wax is the wax that needs to have that hardcore center with runny wax on the outside. You stir this hardcore away, yeah, it could still technically work. You just have to like really spend some extra time getting the wax to cool down on your spatula. But really, you would be doing this twirling motion for so long, trying to get it to cool down to that perfect consistency before you worked it onto your client's skin, or it's a dripping mess everywhere. So, how to use this? Again, hardcore center. Make sure that you have this hardcore center. You grab the runny wax on the outside of your pot, as well as some of the core. Okay. And the reason why you do this, your core is going to be your temperature control. Anything on the outer rims is always going to be nice and hot. But if you only grab only the running wax, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to control and use. Grabbing too much core is not going to shrink wrap around any of the hairs whatsoever. So what you are really looking for when you're grabbing this wax is if you were stationary, once you grab your wax with that beautiful nice ball at the end of your spatula, if you were static, it should slowly drip. But if you were to do a quick little twirl, it should just nicely twirl back into your ball. If you're not getting this, this is not the perfect consistency that you have your Brilliance hard wax at. If it's dripping all over the place, it's too hot. You're not going to have any of that control whatsoever. Your application would probably be a little bit too thin as well, which is probably where some people say, well, the Brilliance wax is cracking on me. Brilliance, anything that is creamy needs to be applied thicker. And this only applies to the hard wax, okay? So Brilliance hard wax has to be applied on thicker. It cannot be treated like a film because it's not a film. It cannot be treated like a gel because it's not a gel. It's a cream-based wax. Cream-based waxes that are nice and gentle always go on thicker on the skin with nice, perfect round edges. If you don't get any movement or you're getting strings, then you know that your wax is way too cold. It's not going to do anything for you. It's probably not going to adhere to the skin very well either. So what I would do without tossing your wax into the garbage, because that's money right there, you simply take your too cold of wax, you dip it back into your wax pot, grab more of that runny wax, try again, grab a little bit less of a core because now you have too much on here. Grab more runny wax. You're basically remelting this back down and then go ahead and apply it onto your client's skin. There is a way to save too cold of wax, and there is a way to save too hot of wax too. Oh, excuse me there. So again, this is perfect for those clients who have extremely sensitive skin, like actual sensitive skin, and it's perfect for your Brazilian and your intimate waxing areas. Is the Pro HD soft wax better than the strawberry cream wax? This depends. If you want to be able to treat all skin types, Pro HD is beautiful for that. It's also very, very grippy in comparison to your strawberry cream, because again, strawberry cream is basically the same as your Brilliance. So it's not going to provide you as much grip. But Pro HD is beautiful because the way I find Pro HD and how my clients have been telling me about it too is Pro HD gives you all the grip without any of that feel of the rip. So it's like best of both worlds. So if you're using strawberry cream and you love it and you love it, like stick with it. But if you're feeling like, I could use a little bit more grip, like I just need a little bit more to it, Pro HD soft wax would be a very, very beautiful wax to use. But I use Wax Press, which I believe is the same formula. So Wax Press is not available in Canada. This is something very, very different. We only promote Curl Lab. So Curl Lab is available in US and Canada. Wax Press is only an American thing. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know it's kind of like another sister thing under the whole entire umbrella. But yeah, otherwise, like what Wax Press is not going to give you, if you're curious, like what is the main difference, is the education and the support, because there is no support when it comes to Wax Press at all. Corona is the luxury wax counter, but we give you way more because what you're paying for is going to be education. We're also at the trade shows. We're trying to do more trade shows in the USA too and trying to offer more classes. So we're the ones that are also offering you guys certification and everything like that too. So if you're wondering what the main difference is, Corona Lab gives you way more, a bigger bang for your buck than you would with Wax Press would. Okay, Brazilian. Brazilian is a film wax. So anything that is clear like film or gel is going to give you grip. So this is a beautiful wax. This is great for anywhere on the body. It is vegan friendly formulas. The scent of this, if any of you guys are curious, because like tons of you guys come by the booth and you are like, oh my god, it smells really great. What is it? It's actually a very subtle bit of mandarin and lavender in here. Again, all fully synthetic. Nothing is colored at all with anything natural. But this wax can be used on anywhere on the body. So if you needed one wax to do everything and you're strictly a hard waxer, this is the wax that you would go for because this wax also is available in bulk boxes. When you guys buy bulk, like if you guys love a wax to death, buy bulk. Okay, if you are buying bags and bags and bags, you're actually wasting a lot of money. By buying bulk, I believe I worked out the math for Brazilian. You're essentially getting 1.5 bags of wax for free. And when you do that, you find out more in the next webinar because I dive down very deep into calculations with like how much money you can make, possibly how many treatments you could possibly get out of one bag of beads. This is how you guys can actually calculate and know how you guys can further save money. But again, Brazilian is amazing because again, anything that is clear is going to give you that grip. So it's going to grip to anything, including your vellus hairs, your short stubborn hairs, your coarse hairs, whatever. It can be applied nice and wafer thin, as you can see, for an upper leg or any large body areas. Just be mindful though that when you are doing this on any of your facial and your intimate areas, this wax should go on a little tiny bit thicker. Okay, so what you want to do and what I usually recommend is, well, if you have a mixed day of waxing, how should I have my consistency? Consistency for this. I would have a much smaller core, so still have a core, smaller though. We don't want it to look exactly like Brilliance where it needs to have that full hardcore center. A smaller core will actually provide you, again, the core is meant to be your temperature control. So that would be perfect for if you're doing any of your intimate areas and your facial waxing, because again, you want to treat it almost like it is Brilliance. But when you are actually working on larger areas, you want to be able to get more scoop in your wax pot with your spatula. And the biggest thing is you want to make sure that your wax is a little bit more smoother through. I like to say that when you're actually trying to get your spatula through, it needs to give you some pushback. So you need to feel like you're actually fighting the wax a little tiny bit, because when you take it out of the wax pot, you should only get little slight bits of movement. If it's virtually dripless, great, because it will still work wonderfully and it will still give you that spreadability. It's very different to your Brilliance, where if you have no movement and you get all those strings everywhere, because you will see the strings if it's too cold, it's not going to adhere to anything. But because this formula, as well as Pro HT and as well as Bravado, it should come out virtually almost dripless. If you get, again, slightly bits of movement, but if you're just twirling nice and slow, like guys, we're not like twirling nice and fast, we're twirling nice and slow, the wax should loop back into your nice ball of wax here. What if you are, again, working on your large areas and you want to get more wax, dip it through. You want to be able to do a beautiful scoop, do your twirl, let that cool for say 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, go back in for your second dip. You'll get more wax and it will give you that full spreadability for the whole entire front of the leg. So again, this is a wax that is available in bulk. It is the most cost effective if you are someone who are looking, again, just for one wax to be able to wax everything on the body. Pro HD. Now, Pro HD is newer. It just launched last year in January. This is technically our synthetic resin wax. This is the base of all waxes, okay? So what is different about this is it's simple and pure. Like there's no allergens added into this because there's no colorants, there's no fragrance, there's absolutely nothing. This is strictly our high quality synthetic base resin, our polycyclopentadiene wax. If you guys are into science, that's a scientific name for it. Polycyclopentadiene. This is the wax, okay? This, because there are no allergens, there's no colors, there's no fragrances. Again, this is also vegan friendly. It's going to give you the least amount of any reactions on the skin whatsoever. Because there are no allergens too, it is good for every single skin type. So if you are hoping to just really be a very basic waxer, you just want a wax that is just going to do its job properly for you, but be able to cater to every single clientele. Pro HD is amazing for that, guys. Pro HD, as you guys saw at the very beginning when they put that wax on the leg, it needs to look almost invisible like that. And the only reason why you can see it is because you're moving that person's leg in the light. Hard waxes, again, it is a film base. This upper lip, I just have to mention, she's one of my most sensitive clients too. She gets severely red. After her lip wax, with the Pro HD, I think about 10 to 15 minutes, like we were chatting afterwards, it didn't even look like she was waxed at all. We were both completely blown away by this wax and its usage, because even when I have waxed her with the Brilliance, because again, there is that added titanium dioxide, there is the added synthetic coconut essence in there. She's red for maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, which is still like a really, really good for me already. But the biggest thing that I like to do for those who would love to come by the show and they go, I'm super red, I'm looking for a wax that won't make me or anyone super red. I do a strip on their arm. And yes, you instantly do start to see a little bit of that pinkiness. I tell them to do a walk around the show. And when it actually stops being pink or whatever, come back to the booth. And usually people come back in about, like for those who are severely, severely sensitive, about 10 to 15 minutes, they come back and they go, what in the world? I have never not react from a wax that bad. Like they usually react really, really poorly, but it's gone. And I'm like, exactly. This is the difference with Pro HD. Pro HD, because again, there is absolutely nothing in there to really entice anything to happen for the skin at all. The only downside about this though, right now, is Pro HD hard wax beads are only available in bags. I am pushing and working really, really hard to get Australia to make boxes for us. Because again, this is a very, very wonderful wax, guys. If you love Curl Lab, but you still feel like something is missing in your life, you're missing Pro HD. That's the way that I like to talk about this wax. Like I love, love, love Curl Lab. I'm already a hardcore, diehard fan. But the thing is, when this wax came, I'm like, who wants a wax that doesn't look like anything? Like, what's so special about this wax? So I actually did try this out on my clients without telling them. And they were like, are you doing something different? I'm like, a little tiny bit. Do you notice a difference? And they're like, they want to say yes, but they also want to say no. But the biggest thing that I noticed with this wax is when I was doing my Brazilian waxing, pretty much a good number of my clients told me that the wax felt almost equivalent to the Brilliance hard wax. So if Brilliance hard wax on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most painful, it would be a 1 out of 10 for my clients. But if it was Pro HD, they said it's maybe like a 1.5, like not even a 2. Like they feel like they could feel something a little bit different, but not really. Can't really pinpoint what it is. It can feel like a cream-based wax, but it has the grip that you need, because the grip, when it comes to grip wise, for all of our hard waxes, I'll just kind of go back here so then I can explain this. Grip wise for all of our hard waxes, so all the hard waxes are the ones on top. Bravado, the gel hard wax, is always going to be the grippiest. So this is the wax that is going to mimic exactly the same grip as a strip wax would. There is no other wax grippier than this from the whole entire hard wax range. Pro HD actually is a runner-up afterwards. And I don't know if it's because it has everything taken out of it, because Pro HD and Brazilian are pretty much the same thing. But Brazilian has all those other things added into it, but for some reason, its grip is not as superior as Pro HD. So Brilliance, of course, is going to be last, because creamy, again, is always going to be the most gentle. So Brilliance is going to always give you the least amount of grip, but the best for doing overlaps. Then you have your Brazilian, Pro HD, and then lastly, Bravado being your grippiest. I also forgot to mention Brilliance has also won Dermoscope Awards as the best sensitive wax on the market in 2019 and in 2021. When I say that there is nothing that feels like this, like you guys, if you guys ever have a chance to like hop into your supplier or anything like that, or if you're at a show, ask to try Brilliance. You have to try it to really fully understand the beauty of how gentle, how silky it feels on the skin, and the way it comes off the skin, you barely feel anything whatsoever. Oh, might as well talk about the soft waxes while I'm here too. Okay, so soft waxes, smooth and remove. This is our natural wax. Okay, this is the only natural wax that we do have. It is going to be the grippiest. Okay, because again, natural resin attaches to everything. This is the grippiest of the whole entire strip wax range. I'll explain why we have this afterwards once I get there. Next would be Pro HD. After that would be Viva Azure. And then last but not least would be the strawberry cream, because again, it is a cream-based wax. So yeah, Pro HD is also good for anywhere on the body. So exactly the same as your Brazilian. It's just if you were looking for the best bang for your buck, it would be the Brazilian 2-in-1 film. Okay, so if you love the wax, buy both. This is how it's going to save you money. If you are someone that is, say, a brow bar, or you don't do a whole lot of waxing, I would have Pro HD available. Pro HD for brow bars as a backup for your extremely sensitive clients. And I'll explain why once I get to Bravado here, which is right here. So Bravados are gel sculpting hard wax. This is vegan friendly as well. Its scent is a honeysuckle and prickly pear. It does have a very, very beautiful shimmer in there as well, because it does have a little bit of mica in there. And again, mica is good for helping soothe any skin redness. Now, this is ideal. Like we say it's for your eyes only, but it's really not just for your eyes only. It's great for your facial waxing, again, because it removes those baby Bella's peach fuzzy hairs, basically from the very first strip. This is a wax that you really don't have to overlap the skin more than once, like maybe twice if you really wanted to make sure everything was fully clean. But this is a wax for those who are mainly a strip waxer too, who's looking to get into hard wax. Because it's going to give you that grip of the soft wax, you can use any of our hard waxes with strips over top too. This is a technique that we call the platform. The only thing though is if you are a strip waxer trying to get used to using your hard wax and you put the strip over top, you need to learn how to grab tabs for removal for your hard wax. That is the very first thing that you need to learn. You need to grip the strip and the tab simultaneously to do your removal. And the reason behind this is if your hard wax underneath was not fully set and you put your strip over top and you think it's fully set and you go and rip and all you pull is that strip alone, if it wasn't dry underneath, one, you could get bounced back, or you'll get that really bad gummy pull, and that is what's going to give you your skin lifting and your bruising. Okay, so if you're going to utilize this, make sure to remember to grab your tab for removal, gripping both the tab as well as your strip wax and removing them both together at the same time. Grabbing tabs for removal is great for those who are trying to transition into hard wax, because that gets you used to knowing how to get your tabs. When I'm saying grabbing your tabs, we also do not promote any bits of your picking and flicking of the wax, especially those who have really, really long nails. You guys don't need to do that with your long nails anymore. All you need to do to grab your tab for removal is simply just taking any of these 3 fingers here. Technically, I usually use these 2, my thumb and my index. You press the top of the wax with your thumb holding onto where the tab ends. You press and release, and you should grab a tab for removal easily. You don't have to do anything more. I believe I can actually show you here too, where I do the tab for removal. So feeling for the wax is all good there. All I did was press and release to grab my tab for removal, no picking and flicking or anything like that whatsoever. So exactly the same thing with your Pro HD, your hard wax, any of your hard waxes. That is the way that you want to do this. Do you have to use strips though in order to use Bravado? No, you don't. Okay, like this is just a nice handy tool that you can definitely use. The platform is also really good for when you're doing, say, your Brazilian waxing, because we don't perform any bits of trimming in our services either. So if you have someone who has a ton of hair down in their labia and you don't want their hairs to tangle each other, you can actually utilize the platform So set your hard wax, set your platform right over top of that before it dries. Otherwise, it doesn't adhere. And then that way, no hairs will actually get tangled with each other. Anything that has a platform on there will take an extra few seconds for it to dry. All of our waxes do dry very, very like quickly already. So pretty much once you set it down, it should pretty much dry right away, unless you are in a very, very humid area. We do have an extra product that you can utilize, so it will help to set your waxes much faster if needed. But then again, this is a beautiful wax. If you want to use this for your Brazilians, yes, you can. You can use it in other areas too. The only thing is our Bravado bags do come in a smaller size. So our actual Brazilian, Pro HD, and Brilliance, they are in a bigger bag. But if you were to use Bravado, it would be very, very costly for you to do body treatments with it, which is why it is promoted mainly for you to do your facial waxing with it. Not saying that you can't use it for a cleanup for Brazilians. I have totally done it and it is beautiful. It grips everything. And again, you can still overlap with this wax if you need to. When I say overlap too, guys, if your client is starting to look a little bit raw, like please use common sense and don't overlap them just because I say that you can. We still need to take all those little things into consideration. This is the wax that you want for those who mainly do brows, your brow shape and your brow bars, all that. This is your main wax because this is going to help you to do all of your contouring and everything from the get-go right away. Pro HD is good for those that you can treat with those other conditions that they do have. So again, I always mention rosacea because that is usually the biggest one. This is the wax that you want to use. If you have a ton of mature clients or those with like tons of people with rosacea, I actually recommend using Brilliance instead because again of that low melting point. Anything else that is clear, they all have low melting points, but these guys will definitely still feel warmer than your cream-based waxes. So Pro HD treat exactly the same as you would with your Brazilian. Have a little bit of a smaller core, still have a core, but if not, you're doing mainly a full body day. Just make sure that when you're pushing your wax through, you need to feel like you have to fight the wax a little bit. I don't want to use the word gummy because gummy sounds a little bit too cold to me, but it needs to be smooth with some pushback in there. Bravado, though, is very different. As you can see here, this is the only wax that has no core. But when I say no core, you have to be very careful with this because when you take it out of the wax pot, it needs to be dripless. Little bits of movement, very small bits of movement is okay. If it is dripping everywhere, it is going to feel way too hot to put onto your client's skin. This wax needs to be completely smooth throughout. But when you take it out of the wax pot, you'll know it's at that right consistency because it's dripless. If it's not dripless or if there's slight bits of movement on there, because if you're doing this to get to your client's skin, it's pretty much dripless by the time you hit your client's skin. So if it's all over the place, too hot, definitely do not use. It needs to be nice and dripless. You don't have to worry about it being too cold, but if you do, if you're like a talker and you grab the wax out and you don't get it to your client's skin right away, yeah, you might notice a few strings. When you are actually applying, you might notice the strings. That's when you know that your wax is a little bit too cold now. You did have it at that right consistency, but you spent too much time from getting it from point A to point B. That's how fast the waxes can actually dry. This can actually go on nice and thinly as well. Not as thin as your film waxes. It needs to be in that nice perfect range, like where your Goldilocks and is just right. It's not like cream-based waxes where it needs to be nice and thick, but it's not like nice and cellophane wafer thin like a film wax would. It's just that nice sweet spot where you can still see through the skin a little tiny bit, but you need to have those nice perfect edges for it. It runs a little hotter even on a lower temperature setting. At least this is what I noticed. It does feel a little bit hotter. I don't want to use the word hot because all the waxes really, even if you were to get this like super duper hot, it really doesn't feel like it's, oh my God, it's like burning. But it does feel much warmer than all of the other waxes. So make sure, again, this is the only wax that when you do take it out of the pot, it needs to be virtually dripless. Okay, strip waxes. So strawberry cream. Strawberry cream is the exact same formulation as our Brilliance. The only difference is strawberry cream is our strip wax version of our hard wax. I should also mention Brilliance is the only hard wax that comes in a microwave to pot. So all of our strip waxes that comes in our jars, our plastic jars, these plastic jars are also recyclable. They're made from out of all of our recyclable plastics. This jar can actually be popped into the microwave for you to top up in between clients easily. Okay. So this, because it is creamy, it is also the most difficult for people to work with to get that nice transparent application. If you cannot see the skin underneath, your wax is too thick. Okay. This wax, all of the strip waxes need to go on super duper thin. And yes, it will still grab the hairs for you. Because this is synthetic too, we're taught in school that we cannot overlap the skin more than once with strip wax. Synthetic strip waxes can overlap the skin more than once, more than twice if you really need it to. So the only thing that I want you guys to remember now is you have the possibility to overlap the skin now, even with strip waxes. So you don't need to spend more time tweezing the skin because all you have to do is apply another layer of wax. When I'm doing lower legs or anything like that, it barely looks like I've even touched my wax pot because of how thin it needs to go on. When you guys are applying your waxes, when we're doing any of our intimates, we want to make sure that we have a nice pencil hold. And this provides us with precision. So we can actually get the waxes to where we want it to go. So we can direct the waxes where we need it to go. But when we are doing large areas, we want to make sure that we have our spatulas where a lot of us are taking the waxes and just dipping it onto the skin, spreading it. We need to take this forward position and angle it back to a 45. You are just looking for a very beautiful glide for the whole entire skin. This is what is going to give you that nice thin application. If you're doing this, you're also wasting tons of wax, tons of money, tons of product. And this should not happen either. If you're doing this with any other waxes, so even your natural resin waxes, because it takes so much work for you to apply your strip and get it to fully adhere, because you need to make sure it adheres to the bottom. If it's nice and thin, literally, I would take my strip, apply, pressure, nice firm light pressure, and I go ahead and I remove. This would also speed up my removal time too. So if you're a speed waxer, this is perfect tip for you guys. Make sure you're angling your spatulas back and actually applying it this way instead. When you're actually running out of the waxes, then slowly angle your spatula forwards. So you're using whatever is left on your spatula. We never want to leave any wax behind and waste any of this money because this could cover a small area as well. So, but when you are actually applying your wax strips onto a thick glob of wax, this is also a very, very dangerous area for you to do your removal, especially if you're not also doing your full follow through movements, or your like proper swinging movements. If you're just removing upwards, that's also how you bruise, and that is also how you get skin lifting. So the chances for you to get those when your wax is nice and thin is much lower compared to if you have it nice and thick. If it's super duper thick, higher chances for skin lifts and higher chances for bruising. Just want to see what this is here. You know, really bad reaction to hard and soft wax I've used at school because they do use different kinds. What would you recommend I use? I miss being able to wax. I would totally try Pro HD, Samantha. I actually have a video on my Instagram. I did a live while I was in Dallas. So my model, she's one of those, if you touch her, she gets super duper red. That's how sensitive she is. She was really nervous actually to be waxed at all because she actually told me that she was waxed by someone else using her own lab, okay, and she had a bad reaction. And it was very interesting to me because I'm like, that's not possible. Like, it's possible to still have a bit of a reaction. But she told me it was bad and she was scared. So then that's when I'm like, can I wax you? And we'll see. So this is where I say that wax also need to take into consideration who is doing the waxing and their techniques, okay? Because when they had used, they had applied it very, very thick on her skin. The removal was quite painful for her too. She was super duper red. She was very, very scared afterwards to get waxed again. I did the exact same wax on her, but much thinner, no reaction whatsoever. So knowing and understanding how to apply wax properly too is just as important as knowing the ingredients in your wax and what the wax can do. Okay. So yeah, Samantha, I would highly recommend you try Pro HD. Actually, I did wax someone in Vancouver too. She also doesn't react very well to waxes either. We tried to sugar her too. And she actually reacted worse to the sugar, which was very, very interesting. It wasn't the brand new sugar, it was just a random sugar. We were just trying to test out how sensitive she was. But I had tried the Pro HD on her and she was completely fine afterwards. She only had like those few little like red spots, like the ruby spots on her hair follicles, but it lasted for maybe like I think 30 minutes on her. Like she's someone quite sensitive too, and there were no issues at all whatsoever. But yeah, if you're red, itchy, and swollen afterwards, I would highly, highly look into Pro HGA because again, there's nothing in it. Like again, no allergens, no scents, no colors. There's nothing in it. It is strictly just the synthetic wax, and like yes, Pro HD. I would try Pro HD. I would do strip or hard or both. Just make sure that when the strip is being applied, it needs to go on pretty much virtually transparent. It needs to be super duper thin. Okay. Okay, so we do have Viva Azure too. Now, Viva Azure is great for males because it is that nice blue, night blue color. It does have shimmer in here too, so it's a very, very pretty wax. If you're someone who's just like, oh my god, I don't want to use Pro HD because it looks so boring. Okay, then use Viva Azure because it's so pretty. That mica in there helps to soothe the skin too and calm down any redness. But it's a very, very beautiful wax. This was definitely one of my favorite waxes to use, especially when I'm doing my men's chests and my back waxes. But this is great for removing your coarse hairs too. This is synthetic as well. So again, synthetic means that it can be overlapped more than once, even though it is a strip wax too. Okay. So if you're someone who like really wants something a little bit nicer, that looks a little bit prettier than compared to your Pro HD, then go with Viva. Again, I have found that Viva doesn't seem to grip as well as Pro HD either, because again, I'm not sure if it's because everything has been taken out, but I find Pro HD is very, very grippy, the grippiest out of all of the synthetic formulas. But if you hate the fact that it looks yellowy like that, it almost looks like honey. It's definitely not honey. And I know some of you guys come by and just like, oh, it smells like honey. I'm like, there's no honey in it whatsoever. This is just what the wax naturally smells like. And this is just how the wax naturally looks. So if you don't like that and you like pretty waxes, then you have Viva Azure for you to use. Now, this is our only natural base resin wax that we have available in North America. Why do we still have those wax? There's always going to be someone who is not ready to swap over, okay? This is the most economical out of all of the strip waxes because it's about I'm going to say about $3 to $5 cheaper than the other synthetic waxes. I don't want you guys to take this colophonium wax and think it's, oh my god, it's bad. Okay. Think about this very high quality distilled vodka. This is what we've done with the pine resin. Also, when we are taking that pine resin from the tree, we want to make sure it's as clear as possible. If it's not clear, we don't want it. So we take that nice, beautiful, clear, natural pine resin and we refine it over and over and over and over again to its highest quality. To the point that like we can't really say it's natural anymore, but we still have to market it off as a natural wax because of what it is derived from. This is our all natural organic formula. We also do have olive oil added into this to help nourish and also calm down the skin too. This dries very, very, very quickly. So this is a wax that you need to get on and get off right away. You definitely cannot like put it on, have a chat, and then take it off. This is fantastic for your clients who shave in between and cheat on you with the razor. Great for your stubborn and coarse hairs. This is amazing. I do actually really love this wax. I am currently using it in my own space too, since I've had to storage full body areas. It has definitely saved me a lot of money, but this is an amazing wax. I know some of you guys have mentioned that you guys have bought this and then just kind of left it because you guys fell in love with the synthetics. This wax, if you really needed to do one extra overlap, it's okay. And I have definitely done this on my clients with no issues whatsoever. The redness is still pretty close to none. Again, because of what it is derived from, you do get a slightly higher chance for certain little bits of reaction, but again, it doesn't last very, very long. But if you still have this sitting around, I recommend to finish it off. And if it looks like it's a little bit gritty, it's the reason behind this is because of its naturalness. Okay. If you were to mix a brand new tub of olive oil into your smooth and remove, you won't notice that anymore. It's just if this sits for too long, this is the only wax that starts to turn almost a little bit gritty and thicker. So you need to make sure that it is fully heated up properly, where it's fully runny like honey for all of the strip waxes, okay? All across the board for strip waxes, fully runny like honey, no core whatsoever. This is the only wax that I always tell people dials for. If you are using our Chrome Lab heater, this is always set at a 6, okay? 6 lid off. This is the perfect consistency for it. It will keep it at that beautiful temperature for you as well, but it needs to be fully runny like honey. If you guys are curious too, I will be sending a copy of this for you that's available in my Google Drive. If you guys want to download these wax consistency charts, I do have them for all of our waxes that you guys can also go through at your own convenience. You can, I also put down on here too, like how to hold your spatula, what is the perfect application that you're looking for, how to get the perfect consistency by judging it by eye. So we have it for all of our hardened film, our brilliance, as well as all of the strip waxes are available on here too. So if you guys are interested in this, again, check your emails tomorrow. It's going to be available in a link and you can go ahead and download it at any time. I think it's an okay wax, but like Pro HD or yes, definitely. I'm all for that too. I totally love Pro HD and Starburst Cream too. Well, yeah, no problem at all. I'm going to send out the recording tomorrow. I wanted to be very thorough for this because it's going up on our website. So thank you for coming, Lori. Okay, wax heater. So our wax heater has won the best wax heater in 2020 as well as 2022. We do only come with the one size for this heater, and the reason behind that is we highly do recommend that the waxes need to be its separate entity. Because all the hard waxes have its very specific consistencies, if you were to put this in a double heater, we don't want to be playing dials all day. One side is always going to affect the other. So if you are someone who does have a double heater, and I still own a double heater myself too, I did not throw it away. I still decided to utilize it. But I would keep waxes that need the same consistency together. So for example, in my double heater, I have 2 strip waxes because they both need to be fully runny like honey, okay? And then in the singular pots, I do have all of my hard waxes in them because I need it to be at that perfect consistency, again, because I don't have time and I definitely do not want to be playing dials all day with it. So pretty much once you get that perfect consistency, you can basically keep it at that temperature or turn it down a little tiny bit, lid off all day. On the left-hand side is our strip wax, little skirt that's available. And then on the right-hand side is our hard wax skirt. Every single one of these pots, these plastic jars, need to go directly into this metal insert. You cannot place this directly into the wax pot to heat because that is how you are going to damage the heater. We also have a technology in there called the drip-free rim, okay? Drip-free rim does not work if you do not utilize the metal insert, okay? I have never seen in the last 3 years of using Chrome Lab any wax strips at all inside of my wax pot, okay? Also, if you guys are purchasing on our website or anything like that, please make sure, or through your distributor, make sure that you do have that 1-year warranty. If not, you please go onto our website and you can register your heater and you'll get a 1-year warranty with us as well. But all of the 800-gram jars, like the plastic jars, fits directly into our metal inserts. You do not have to use our wax pots, okay? Like you can definitely heat up our waxes, like microwave all of our jars, and then pour it into any wax pot you so feel like. Wax beads go directly into the metal insert as well for heating, and then you can top up in between your clients as well. But it's very great for those who are mobile waxers too, because you can get multiple metal inserts. All you have to do is just pop one insert out, pop in your next insert that you wanted to use, and just keep popping in different waxes that you want to use if you so wish, or need to for your clientele. Okay, pre and post. So this is the only area that I like to talk about where we want the natural to work for us, okay? Pre and post is where skincare comes in. Skincare is where we want things to penetrate into the skin, okay? Waxing is not meant to penetrate into the skin. Waxes should actually just be there to remove hairs, okay? While also being able to protect the skin. So that's why we don't have anything natural in our waxes. We reserve that for all of our pre and post. I also just want to say too, it's interesting too. I always bring this up in my classes too. How interesting is it that when we pick up a skincare product, that we turn it around and we look at ingredients, but why do we not do that with waxes? Isn't it the exact same thing? It's still going onto skin. So how come we don't do the same with our waxes too? So knowing your ingredients in your waxes are also just as important, because if I ever get someone who says that they are getting a reaction to something, I usually don't go to my wax first because I know it's not going into the skin. I actually go straight to my pre and post first because this is what is going into the skin. So this is where I'm usually trying to figure out, did you get a reaction or an allergic reaction to one of these products instead? Okay. So again, all of our pre and post products are super duper highly concentrated. A little tiny bit goes a long way. A bottle of these guys should last you a fairly long time, especially if you are a solo waxer, like talking from my own experience. I think I barely ever top up any of these just because of how little it is that I have to use to prep my client's skin with. So the prep is our cleanser. It does contain a little bit of peppermint oil. Now, the story that I have here with how too much of something natural is also not a good thing, and how concentrated it is. So I was teaching a class and I had someone douse one of her models with the prep cleanser, which is infused again with that peppermint oil, and it has some alcohol in there, which is what helps this to dry so quickly. Okay. If you put too much of a good thing on someone's skin, they are going to react. Okay. They're going to have an adverse reaction. So when she did that and she broke out in hives, I was like, that doesn't look right. So I went over, I did her other arm. I did one spray, rubbed down with my gloved hand. And I told her, were you doing that or were you getting trigger happy? And she told me she got really trigger happy because that's what people are used to doing. You put more product to clean the skin off, and compared to where you literally just have to do one spray, rub down, and the skin is already clean. No reaction on the side that I did with one spray, where the skin was already fully prepped or ready to, compared to the other side where she was fully doused with this product. Okay. So again, natural is good, but too much of something that is natural is also just as bad. Okay. So remember, when you are using any of the Chroma pre and post products, little tiny bit is all is needed. Okay. Also, if you're using too much too, that is money right there, guys. And we don't want to be spending too much money, or we don't want to be wasting any of our products, because again, this is money. Okay. So prep, if we're doing say any facial waxing, I always recommend grabbing a nice little 2x2 gauze, one spray, fanning for a few extra seconds, because when we're say doing like an upper lip or a nose waxing, if we instantly clean them right away, that alcohol smell is going to take their breath away. This is not a very fun wax experience then. We want to fan away just that alcohol smell. Just give that like a fan for a few seconds and then go ahead and wipe down your client's skin. Then it will no longer take their breath away afterwards. But if you're doing, say, large areas, usually on the back, I do 1-2 sprays, rub it down. If I'm doing legs, I do one spray per leg, one spray onto my glove, rub it into my glove, and then I rub down the backs of the legs, and they're fully cleansed right away as well. So again, a little tiny bit of this product is all you need. You don't need to do anything more to cleanse the skin afterwards. It will take off makeup, oils, and everything. Now, our set, as I was saying, if you do work in a space that is a little bit more humid, you can utilize our set spray. Now, this is a quick drying wax mist. You have to make sure that you shake it to activate, because it does have mica in there to help calm down the skin as well of any skin redness, but you need to mist it away from the skin. Like, think about it this way. If you have your hard wax, it's taking too long for you to dry. You mist it directly and you wet the whole entire hard wax. That whole technology of trying to get your wax to dry faster, completely lost. So make sure you're just lightly misting it from afar. There is a little tiny trace of that alcohol in there too, to help dry it a little bit faster as well. But mist it from afar and your hard wax should pretty much be ready to rip off immediately. You can use this on the face as well. Just, of course, we're not spraying our clients' faces directly. We're spraying onto our gloved hand, and then we're just dabbing right over top of the waxes. And then this can also help to dry your waxes faster too. Now, I mentioned at the very beginning, please do not use the after oil. This is probably one of our most highly concentrated products as a pre-oil. Please do not pre-oil with this at all. This is meant to be used afterwards. This is so concentrated. It says 2 to 3 sprays goes a long way. if I'm doing a waxing, like say if I need to really take off any residue on the face, which I usually don't need to anyway, but if I really had to, I would do half a trigger spray. That is all you need. If I'm doing underarms, half a trigger spray. Okay. If I'm doing legs, one spray per leg. That is literally all the product you need. It's not going to leave your clients feeling overly oily or anything either. It gets absorbed into the skin right away. And it's nice and beneficial to have that tea tree oil in there too, because it can help to prevent any possible ingrowns. Um, Please make sure again, you do not douse your client with this. Too much tea tree oil is also not a good thing. Little tiny bit of this product is really all you need. I also recommend people, if you do have any lettering, like say on your wax pots or if you have a vinyl bed sheets or anything like that, I recommend cleaning it with the after oil, just a little tiny bit again because of its high concentration. Because our actual cleaner is again super duper highly concentrated, it can actually take off lettering. But the after oil can help to clean off any like possible wax, like strings or anything like that, without taking off any of the lettering whatsoever. Now, we also have two products that you can possibly use to retail off your clients too. So we have the aloe and the soothe. The aloe is pure aloe vera. It's great for especially the summertime. You can pop this into your fridge so it's nice and cooling. It's great for your sensitive skin clients too, but it is a nice healing product too because it is infused with some nice rich vitamin E in there. This is a more popular product. I usually only bring it out during the summertime because you could always have a client who comes in and they have a sunburn, say elsewhere, and you're like, oh, do you have any aloe vera? You can purchase it from me, and it also has vitamin E to help heal over the skin faster. Soothe. Now, Soothe just won another Dermoscope award this year. It won last year as well as the best. It's the best, the most favorite post hair removal product chosen by the people. Okay. This is also infused with witch hazel in there to help prevent any pustules and ingrowns. You can elevate your waxing treatment a little bit further after you use the after oil by applying some Soothe lotion afterwards. It is beautiful. It has a very subtle mango scent to it too. And it's also infused with vitamin A and E. This is fantastic if you do have an oopsie and you skin lift your client, okay? Send them home with a little tiny bit of this so they can apply throughout the day. I've had an instructor tell me that they, when they were teaching her students, someone just kept ripping skin. And she ripped a whole schwack of skin on her underarm area from the top to the bottom. She applied it throughout the entire day. No stinging, no burning sensations, nothing whatsoever. But the next morning, the skin was healed over very, very nicely already. This is a healing product. So if you ever need something else also to retail off your clients too, so they have aftercare at home where they like, because aftercare is super important, right? We want to make sure that they are also hydrating their hairs, not their skin. Okay, I need them to hydrate their hairs because if their hairs are dry and brittle, the wax is going to snap irregardless. Okay, like you won't be able to do anything with that type of hair. So we need to make sure that you have some of these available so you can actually sell it off to your clients. And the best way for them to understand and love it right away is for you to have it in your back bar and you provide them with like maybe a nice little massage afterwards of this product. This is also beneficial too, because if you did for some reason miss any spots of wax with the after oil while you're trying to remove the residue, the Soothe lotion is also going to help remove any excess residue. If you have no residue at all and you want to skip the after oil and go straight to Soothe, you can also do that too. Now, our bestseller is the solvent, and as I mentioned, it's super duper highly concentrated. It has a fresh citrus scent in here. When I say it's highly concentrated, guys, and not to use it on lettering, I've definitely used this as a everyday home-based cleaner, and it can remove Sharpie. Okay, so that's how concentrated it is. Please do not use this on skin. This is meant to be used on floors and equipment only. Okay, if you use this on skin, again, because we do have our safety data sheets readily available, it will tell you what you need to do. Please make sure you wash with soap and water right away. But if there are any other adverse reactions or anything like that, or you accidentally grab the wrong trigger and sprayed some of the solvent on your client, at least you know what to do because of the safety data sheets. We also have our vinyl bed sheets available. So it's great for just making sure that your beds stay nice and clean. I still like to put some paper over top because not all clients like to just lay on a cold plastic sheet. But it's great for keeping just your main bed nice and clean at all times. and it's very easy for you to clean off with some solvent or some after oil. We also have our own strips. They're the Spun Lace 90. It is a natural fiber with 95% absorption. These actually work better than any gauze to remove any wax residue. So what I would recommend is I always recommend pre-cut. Okay, we do sell them in the rolls too. I always recommend pre-cut because pre-cut is going to actually limit you with how many strips you are using. Because again, strips are also money. If you are using more than 2 strips in a lower leg wax, you're doing something wrong. Okay, you're wasting tons of money. Okay, I can definitely finish sometimes even like a set of legs with just 1 strip, and it is possible. And that all again comes down to your application, your technique, how much wax you are using, and of course density, of course. But if you guys are curious, I do also have a video on my own Instagram, my wax experience with Chanel, where I do a leg, and you guys can actually see that like there's like this much, like this thick of wax on top of 1 strip. And if I wanted to continue on to the other leg, I probably would have still continued. But pre-cut is amazing. Take your pre-cut, cut them in half. I use this as my gauze to help actually take off any excess wax residue. And it's because of the way that it is woven together, it actually helps to grip onto wax residue much better than any 4x4 gauze. Okay, talking about aftercare, we also have under our Curl Lab umbrella our Renaissance exfoliating mitts. It comes in with a facial and a body mitt too, available in 3 colors. Again, because it is Earth Day, I do want to again really stress the need for keeping our planet Earth nice and clean, reducing our carbon footprint. So Renaissance is great too, and it falls under all of that. Minus the banding, everything is fully compostable. So the mitt itself, because it's made out of eucalyptus and spruce, it is antibacterial, so you don't have to worry about it building up any bacteria for your clients. The box and the packaging itself is also made from the eucalyptus pulp, so everything is literally compostable. Again, minus the elastic bandings that are available on the product. But this is a very easy upsell for your clients too. Afterwards, when you ask them, do you have anything to exfoliate with at home? If they don't, they will usually pick this up because it retails for around, say, at least $30 wherever you're from, Canada or US. They really only just need to buy 1 product. And if you think that they're not going to buy a second one, oh, they will. They will buy them as gifts for people. They will have them for their gym bag. They will have them for their vacation home. They will purchase this product again. So you don't have to worry about needing to bring in any excessive products that also have expiration dates on them. This has no expiration date on it whatsoever. It can last technically it says 6 months, but really I think I've had mine for over a year already, and it still hasn't broken apart or anything like that. And I do have multiples of them available too, again, for gym bags and everything like that. Because again, we do want to make sure our clients are exfoliating as much as possible to make sure that there are no ingrown hairs. Lastly, this came out last year in the summertime. It is a Canadian-made product called Banish. This is an ingrown hair treatment, but it's also good for those who do suffer from, say, breakouts and acne, okay? The main component of this is salicylic acid. It comes in a nice roll-on applicator. This does not come in a back bar size. It only comes in 1 available size, but you can still use this in your treatment rooms. All you have to do is take your roll-on and roll it onto a 4x4 gauze and wipe down the client's skin with it. This retails for around $20 or so. It's a little bit of a lower price point. So it's easy for guests to feel like that it is not going to break the bank for them, but they can still help themselves too and treat any possible ingrown. And again, because it's so easy to use, it's just literally a roll-on. They just have to roll it on, let it dry, and it dries very quickly too. And then they can continue on with whatever skincare that they have to use afterwards. Of course, if they're going to buy it for the Brazilians, make sure they buy a secondary one to use on their faces or anywhere else on the body. Okay, I know that was a lot of information, guys, but it's all good because we also have product manuals available on our website. So available for you guys to download anytime if you would like a copy of this. It has been fully updated and it has all of our products available on here. So if you guys would like to have a copy of this, a printed copy for you guys to have in your spaces, it is available on our Canadian website as well as our US website. I touched base a little tiny bit about our Curl Lab movements and our Brazilians. These are some signature movements that have all been created by Lillian Carone. This picture here is a molding of the clitoris. So when I say that our hard waxes can do big things, okay, compared to other brands, It can mold the anatomy. This is a technique that we call the secret garden. If you guys are really curious about the curl up Brazilian, I am going to be doing a webinar in September. I'm trying to get one of my clients to come in. She's a little bit more of a mature, larger woman, and she also has a clitoral piercing. I'm going to be teaching you guys how to navigate that, okay? But if you guys are also in Orlando, okay, Lindsay is going to be in Orlando. She will have a booth available. Our booth is, I believe it's number 1913, or it is 1915, okay? But we'll have a bed available there. Come and experience wax, play around with the wax, buy some wax, of course, or if you want to get off with some ancillaries too, that is completely up to you. But we do have a class available on Sunday and Monday. We are not doing live models for this, and the reason behind this is we really want to make sure people get certified properly and know what they're doing actually with the Corona Brazilian, because we do, again, things that you technically cannot do with regular wax brands, but we can do it with Corona. But she'll be guiding you through. I have lots of video demonstrations that you guys will be able to see and how this will all basically play out and work. If you have any questions to troubleshooting, please go by the booth and see Lindsay too. But yes, we are doing an intro Brazilian class in Orlando as well. I did this in Dallas too. And some of you guys told me that you guys would love to be certified for this. So if you guys are in Orlando trying to figure out what is the big deal about this whole curl up Brazilian, what the heck is a wax experience, please come by the booth. Please go to the classes as well. So again, are you guys ready to make the change? Because you are going to be using way less products. We're going to be teaching you tons of ways to save time and money, guys. All of our synthetic resins, again, require way less color and fragrance. And because it's synthetic, it's also way less sticky. So you don't have to worry about needing to protect your client's skin anymore with pre-oils, because our waxes are going to do that for you. And isn't it great that you can also overlap the skin more than once without needing the use of your tweezers anymore with strip and hard wax? So of course, because everything is going to be less sticky and less stringy, as long as you get that right consistency, it's going to reduce your cleaning time as well. We also, again, we love ongoing education, guys. We do these every single month. And the educational support that we have available for you guys, if you really need me to do a video call with you to figure out what the heck is going on, this is why I'm here for you. This is why I'm in the position that I am. I want you guys to really understand how to use your products properly. So if you guys do need to do a scheduled video call or something like that, I can do that for you guys. So I can get you guys started with understanding its consistency live as well. We also do have tons of in-depth manuals available. Again, as I mentioned, we have tons of other educators too that speak different languages to help you guys as well. I have lots of access to video content, okay? If you guys need videos to refresh something, I can definitely send those over to you guys as well. I have tons of online presentations too, if you guys are looking for a little bit more, or like a refresher of anything. But please make sure you guys follow our Instagram. Please follow Curl North America and Wax Experience with Chanel. I post a lot of other topics on there too, not just education. I like to talk about controversial topics too, things that I see on the wax forums that I very interesting news topics that pop up in the beauty industry as well. So make sure you follow and you also sign up for our upcoming webinars. So if you guys are very interested in the business side of things, okay, May is going to be very, very special. We do break down costs. We break down how you can charge more. We really dive down deep into, especially those who own larger spas, how can you get your team on board with ongoing education? I myself, I'm already really big on ongoing education, so this is more of a personality thing. But if you are someone who is trying to make sure that your team is uniform, that you all believe in one same thing, how can you translate that? Lindsay's going to be on this with me. And then again, we're going to do our official launch on June 10th for Aquagel. Lindsay is our master sugarist for Aquagel. She's going to basically dive down deep into everything Aquagel related. I'll be there too, basically just to learn from her and find out how special Aquagel is. So again, make sure you guys stalk us. Follow our hashtag, share your social media posts. Again, I am doing Friday reposts on the Wax Experience _ with Chanel. I love when I see your content, guys. It makes me super duper happy. And I love just being able to feature you as well, because without you guys, there would be no Corona Lab. Also, feel free to give us a like and review us on Facebook. And if you are looking for more education, I am getting ready to launch a secondary blog available. So yeah, go on and read our blogs too. And if you guys have any other questions or comments, a survey will pop up at the very end of this. Please take some time to answer that so I can get ready for next year's education and what other types of webinars I can offer you guys. But otherwise, thank you so much for spending some long time with me. I hope this is very educational. Make sure to check your inboxes tomorrow. And if you guys require anything else, please, again, the fastest way to get a hold of me is through our IG. Send me a message there. I love to talk to you guys. I love being able to help you. But thank you for taking the time on this Monday, and thank you to everyone for coming on here today because of the postponing, the cancellation of last week. Thank you for all of your kind words. I am feeling much better already. And I look forward to seeing you guys next month. And I got word that I will also be in Las Vegas for another convention. So if you guys are in Las Vegas, stay tuned. I am going to be doing a class there as well. Okay, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Happy Earth Day. Love you all and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.